Hello horticulture students, Mr. Mammoth here. We're doing a flower garden showcase today. I'm going to show you my Mammoth sunflowers, explain to you a little bit about them. So this year I decided to grow sunflowers in my garden, and I chose a Mammoth variety. The Mammoth sunflower can grow to about 12 feet tall. This guy, I measured it, it is 8. And there's other varieties too that could be different colors, not quite as tall, take less time. I planted them in May, and it's supposed to take 100 days for them to get to seed to flowering. So that's about what it has taken here. We've had several flowers over the last few weeks. This is the last and biggest one. And it's still going strong. Now that the heat's cooled off a little bit, hopefully it can kind of stay together a little bit more before it wilts. Your vocab word of the day is heliotropic. Before the flower comes out of the bud, I have a few examples over here. So before the flower emerges, the buds can follow the sun during the day. So they start facing the east, and then the buds kind of turn towards the west to follow the sun as the day goes on, before following back to the east at the end of the night to greet the sun the next day. It does this so it can conserve as much energy as possible before opening. Flower opens, it stops moving to follow the sun. Eventually it gets too heavy and it's going to fill up with seeds after it's pollinated. Alright, so the anatomy of the sunflower is interesting. When we cover flowers, I'll give you a video and we'll learn all the parts of a flower. But essentially what you're looking at when you're looking at a sunflower is the little flower parts in miniature thousands of times. And if you zoom in, you can really see that sunflowers have lots of tiny little flowers, each with all of the parts of a flower that we're going to learn about. So outside of the petals of the sunflower, inside the flower, is a large brown center disc that could be made up of thousands of individual disc florets, and each one has all of the parts of a flower. Each one can be pollinated, and each one will turn into a separate seed. And so the next thing we'll have to do is we'll have to come back to our sunflower. So here's one that wilted a few weeks ago, and we'll come back a little bit later and we'll check on it and see if we can get seeds out of the sunflower, and I'll teach you how to harvest the seeds. It's supposed to take a few more weeks until we're ready to do that, but you could start to see. So the next step in our video will be to cut one of these off and show you how to get seeds out of a sunflower. That will be fun. Your final fun fact is that the scientific name for the sunflower is Helianthus annuus. So the Greek word helio means sun, anthos means flower, and annus means it's an annual because you have to plant the seeds every year from scratch, and they do everything in one growing season. Alright, that's it for today's video. Hope this finds you all well, and tune in next time. Hello horticulture students, we returned to our sunflowers a month after I picked them. And unfortunately, I kept them in a bag and should have done a better job drying them out. There is definitely some rot on some of these sunflowers. But at the same time, there are plenty of seeds that are not affected by rot yet. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I am going to now harvest our seeds and store them for the rest of the winter. And what I really need to do is make sure they dry out completely and then keep them in an airtight container. And if I do it correctly, I can keep the seeds for 1 to 2 years, or prepare them to be eaten as a tasty sunflower seed snack. Alright, so let's start opening this up. But as I showed you in the prior video, these are seeds from a Mammoth sunflower, and we saw it grow very tall in my backyard, over like 10 feet. We saw it drop down over the season as it filled, as the seeds matured. And look at this, I'm going to get over like 100 plus seeds out of this sunflower. So here, let me start tearing it off and we'll see how I did. Alright, so I am really making a mess here. This was something I intended on bringing to the classroom and letting you guys do. Unfortunately, it is pretty cool. I've never done this before, especially with such a huge sunflower. But I've only done about a quarter of it, and I still have a ton of seeds to go. Alright, so here I am. Here's the final product. This is all the seeds I got out of one sunflower. I'm going to have to sort through them. Some of them are moldy, but a lot of them look pretty great. And we see some smaller seeds here towards the center that I don't think I'll harvest. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. Take care.